This is News Today. My name is Kemini Nyamani. I'm on our first story. The state funeral of late chairman of the National Development Planning Commission, Paul Victor Obeng, was held earlier today at the forecourt of the banquet hall. Old school mates from Upukuwari Secondary School have described him as a committed public servant who served Ghana well until his death. They have described him as an irreplaceable person. Joy News' Prince Maker spoke with some of these old students.
My name is Mr. Joe Ampia Datson.
What was your number back in school?
A41.
C41?
A41. Yeah, that's right.
So this OWAS gentleman was at the presidency, not only for the Mills administration, the Rawlings administration, and the Mahama administration. I think he has left a gap which will be hard to fill.
Oh, definitely. You know, as President Kufuor said it, PV has an institutional memory. In fact, as far as the governance of this country is concerned, I might say that he's been very much involved. And, you know, definitely he was virtually the Prime Minister of this country for a long time, you know, since the FRC through PNDC, and then also NDC1, NDC2, and even in Mills' administration, he played a key role. And as far as Mahama's administration is also concerned, PV was there for them. So for me, I think that PV has been very pivotal in the governance of this country. So his loss is a loss not only to us, warriors, Akatechies, but also to the whole country.
Now, let me come to you, sir, as well. I mean, again, I go back to the issue of PV Obeng and the fact that, and his work at the presidency. Now, you know what happened at Senchi with the Economic Forum. And of course, you know him as the one in charge of the National Development Planning Commission. Now, say we should go into his mind, wherever he is. What do you think he would want to see happen to our economy? And of course, development planning, national development plan.
I finished school long before he came in, so I don't know him that much. I only know him as an engineer and a big asset for this country, a big asset for the school. That's all I can say.
I'm praying and hoping that there will be some big changes in the government, whereby we have new people what will emerge to transform his ideas into reality of the country. And we hope that those who are working with him will not lay down, his vision, but rather they will follow through whatever plans he had, on the table for them, and hopefully those will materialize, yes, for our mother Ghana eventually.
Right, I'm joined over the telephone line by Member of Parliament for Tyne, John Tutu. You're welcome to the program, John.
Yeah, good. Thank you, madam.
Obviously, this is a man who played a pivotal role in many governments, gone and present. What legacy, in your opinion, has he left behind?
Yeah, PV to me is an enigma. We cannot describe in any other way but to say he's enigmatic. He's somebody who actually worked for Ghana, not for any particular political party, but for Ghana, and I think he needs to be celebrated.
Absolutely, I agree. But in celebrating him, we would want to learn some lessons from this man. What will those lessons be?
Yeah. First of all, I think the biggest lesson we should learn from him is tolerance. Here is somebody who tolerated everybody, and he had very insightful knowledge of whatever he was doing, and he was that type who would not experiment on anything. Whatever he said was spot on. So we talk about precision. We talk about, like I said earlier, we need. We have a lot to learn from him. We've lost somebody who would not indiscriminate, who fit into any society, who fit into any system. The man started as an engineer, but ended up being the political icon. And to me, his legacy is the fact that he bridged bridges where others saw division. This man saw unity, and that is to me his biggest legacy. He was very tolerant, and that enabled him to work with all aspects of people and manner of people.
Really important man when it comes to finding political icons to learn from. You must have known him personally. What influence did he have on you?
Hello, again there?
I'm asking that you must have known him personally. What influence did he have on you?
Yeah, really, I knew him personally because I started work at the PNDC headquarters when he was the PNDC more or less second in command, more the Prime Minister of Ghana. And thereafter, my last meeting with him was last year when I brought in some investors, and the advice he gave to me, I believe the best. I don't know. I do not know. You know, we should be crying over the departure of such a person. But anytime at all you think about the TV, you would have to smile because he makes you smile. He makes you he makes you understand that whatever you brought to him, and he's also one person who is very straightforward. If there's something you bring to him and thinks he cannot handle it, he will let you know. Though it's rare for him to have that kind of distance. But then I think I've learned to be humble. A lot of humility exuding from him, and the fact that you have to respect anybody who comes your way. As a political person, he made people know that he was there because they put him there, and so he respected anybody who came to him. That I think is one of his biggest legacies that he will leave for Ghana. I see. Most politicians struggle to even deal with their own, let alone others, but he is able to deal with his own and deal with others and bridge gaps.
John, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much. Pleasure talking to you. John Tutu is Member of Parliament for Tyne. Former President Jerry John Rawlings has also been paying tribute to Paul Victor Obeng.
Miss him. And I will miss him too. He was exceptional. Very special. His mental faculties were just fascinating. I wish it were possible, you know, for a brain like that to be left behind. I could loan it to people a fortnight at a time. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's how gifted he was.
His impact on the governance in general.
I beg your pardon?
His impact on governance in general.
Was he?
His impact on governance in general.
Say it again?
His impact on governance in general.
He was pretty much at the center of a lot of activities. And he was a good conductor of a good piece of music. If you are the right coach. Take care.
I hear the phone lines again and speak with Professor Amin Lamte. Is with the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. Many thanks for your time, Prof.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Absolutely. We would want to celebrate this man. According to former President Jerry John Rawlings, had an amazing mental faculty. In fact, he's wishing that he could take it and distribute to some people in a fortnight. But what will you remember him for?
Well, TV, if you look back to the days of the PNDC, when at a point that the country was very polarized and was becoming more of an ethnic polarization, TV was the man in the NDC government then who had the skills to negotiate the terrain across the ethnic divide. In fact, TV's skill at tempo speed delivery is something that one always remembers if one casts back to those difficult days when the political difficult days of Ghana. And within the PNDC and later the NDC, you could always see that TV was a person who could live up to the occasion, to rise up between the radicals and the moderates. And this is why I think that one cannot always have to appreciate when former President Rawlings talks about him, you have to remember that former President Rawlings was presiding over a collection of various forms of political streams within the government that was called the PNDC. And PV's skill set in moderating and managing that particular coalition was very, very important. And I think that if you look back into those times, and what is interesting is that he never retired, unlike several of his colleagues at that time who quickly retired into inactive politics. PV was somebody who still was able to make his skill set available to President Mills and later President John Mahama. And I think that is why we have to remember PV as somebody who lived above the ideological divide of the yesteryears in Ghana's political short history, and still moved on to become such a very phenomenal figure, sitting as an advisor to President John Mahama.
Prof, thank you very much for your time. Professor Amin Al-Hassan is lecturer at the University of Development Studies, Tamale. Former President John Ejekunkufo has also been paying tribute to Paul Victor Obeng.
What are your fond memories of Sir P.V. Obeng, sir? What are your fondest memories of him?
Not in politics so much as in private, because he helped me set up a brick factory outside Kumasi in the 70s before he emerged in politics. And I found him to be such a focused and committed person. And from those days, we remained fine till he's going.
What would you say his impact in governance has been?
Well, I would be candid with you. Through the PNDC era and even into the NDC 1 and 2, he stood out as a pivot. Without him, I'm sure that party wouldn't have made it half the way it's made it. So he really did something for that party.
In the central region, where traders early on today were in a physical confrontation with the police. This follows a demolition exercise undertaken by the police. The traders say they are unwilling to move to a new market constructed for them by the district chief executive of the area. They say the construction work at the market is uncompleted. I'm joined over the telephone now by King Arthur. King Arthur witnessed this confrontation. Hello, King.
Yeah.
You're welcome to the program. Tell us exactly what this confrontation was.
Yeah. I can't hear you.
What happened earlier today?
Is it?
King, I'm asking what happened earlier today at the market in Chifupraso.
There was a crash between police and market women at Chifupraso. Yes.
When you say clash, how do you mean?
The problem is the DCE is forcing the women to go to some place. He himself called that place New Market, but the market is not well built. There is no facility, but they need so many amenities there. But there's nothing there. I mean, even the shed is not removed, and he's forcing the women to go and trade there. In fact, from town to that place, it's almost a mile. Almost a mile. And in fact, the women are always begging him to do everything proper there so that.
So where are the women now?
In fact, I have moved from that the place.
I see. Do you know if any arrests were made?
I just want to talk to some women.
I'm asking if you know if the police made any arrests after the confrontation.
The place that I am now is far from the
I see, King. Thank you very much for that information. King Arthur witnessed the confrontation early on between Chifupraso traders in the central region and the police in the same region. Listen attention away from the former President Jerry John Rawlings has charged President Mahama to undertake a house cleaning exercise to rid his administration of what he terms unnecessary show of power and insensitivity by some of his appointees. The former president made a call at a ceremony to honor him. A former Nigerian head of state, General Abdul Salami Abubakar, and the former vice chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Anamwa Mensah.
Our society, and by inference, our politics, will be devoid of greed and corruption if we develop a consciousness as a people, a conscience as a people. Our leaders must also learn to play by the book. People with conscience are sometimes appalled by the extreme insensitivity displayed by some political appointees. The unprecedented levels of corruption, offensive show of power and opulence by some at a time when our country requires prudence and frugality is an issue that I call unprecedented. That I call on President Mahama and the Vice to set their eyes on. The people need to see a sign that the government is seriously committed to cleaning up house so they can follow suit. That is not too much to ask for. We cannot fight the various forms of corruption if we do not take on leaders and so-called untouchables who have sought to institutionalize corruption. We need to restore Ghana to the status of a country worth dying for.
So is government really not doing enough to deal with corruption here in Ghana? Vitus Azim is Executive Director of the Ghana Integrity Initiative. He's joined me over the telephone. Hello, Vitus.
Yeah.
Vitus, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
One would imagine that after the likes of Jeddah, the Suba Info Solution and the scandals that came along with them, and you know, the many other audit reports and the likes, you would think that a lot has been done, but here we are. Former President Jerry John Rawlings has noted that, in fact, very little has been done and more has to be done to deal with corruption in the country. As an anti-corruption campaigner, what do you see from where you sit?
Well, even though these issues, the JIDA and the SADAs have come up, what has been done is not adequate to address the concerns. For example, with SADA, the new board has been appointed and the new CEO has been appointed. But the monies that were wrongly paid, we are not told they have been recovered. Some of the people that played various roles in this, we don't hear that they have been sanctioned. It's the same thing with JIDA. We just hear only two people have been prosecuted. No, we don't know the money that have been recovered. I think some time was given for some people to recover, to pay back monies, but we've heard only of one installment. And these monies are being used to do business. So when you look at it, we normally carry out half-hearted measures. We don't follow up to the logical conclusion. And you don't fight corruption that way, because the best way to fight corruption is to make it unpalatable, unattractive, by actually sanctioning people that are found to have engaged in corruption, and this includes recoveries of monies, even seizure of assets and all that.
But
if they were fighting corruption seriously, they would have put a lien on some of the assets of the people that owe the monies. But it's like just relaxing and allowing them to take their own time and come and pay back.
But there has been one promise after the year that we've seen committees and commissions set up to look into some of these issues. Yet we don't think the government is done enough. Why is it too difficult, or perhaps why does it seem as though government isn't doing enough to deal with the situation? Has government become helpless at its own challenges?
I don't think that government has become helpless. Government is failing to follow the things to their logical conclusion. Why would government be helpless if a committee has identified this person is owing government money? There are legal procedures to follow and collect those monies.
Well,
so
I mentioned...
If you commission an investigation and then recommendations are made and you don't follow up to implement those or to enforce those recommendations, why would you say that you are helpless? Is that you are failing to act?
Helpless in the sense that, again, I'm going to refer to the speech of the former president who said there is too much offensive and insensitive show of power in this government. And perhaps that is what is making the administration helpless at dealing with some of its challenges. Do you see that?
Well, he might be speaking from insider information. And that means that even when the president decides to take some action, some other force will prevent him from taking that action. And that is not good for the fight against corruption. What's the point? Spending money, authorizing people to do investigations, the Auditor General doing his audit, and you come out with findings and recommendations, and you just sit back because maybe people are showing power. There is only one power, and that power is in the presidency that controls every other thing. And so if we are determined to fight corruption, we don't have to allow the people to show unnecessary power. So the former president is saying what should be done.
I see. But can we just sit and resign to this as a Ghanaian people?
We cannot sit and resign to this because we are allowing a lot of resources to go down the drain when we are faced with so many challenges that require the use of resources. We talk about the sanitary conditions in the cities. With the rains, we talk about roads that are in very deplorable states. Some suburbs of Accra, even Accra, do not have roads, or what you call roads. So why should we sit back and allow certain people to just take state money that could have been used for these roads? We are now faced with Ebola and cholera. We need money to address these issues. And so we need to rather sit up than to sit back. And ensure that the right thing is done.
In sitting up, what can we do? We've seen the likes of Martin Amidu, but in sitting back, what can we do?
Why should an individual citizen be able to spend time and effort to pursue a case that will bring so much money to the government, and the government with hired attorneys, state attorneys, hired and paid state attorneys, cannot pursue some of these cases? And so that is the question. And that question will go to the government of the day. Why are they failing to do what an individual citizen has been able to do? What action is it taking against those that have been hired and paid to do what the individual citizen has done, and they are not doing it? What sanctions are we imposing on them? Are we just sitting down and looking at them?
But when a government seems as though it's not got the will to prosecute itself, if you like, what do we as citizens, what can we do to push the hands of government to do the right thing?
There are a number of things we can do. We can do what we are doing now. We need to use the media to put pressure on the government to do what is expected to do. We need to write to our MPs. We can sign petition letters. We can come out to the streets and demonstrate, like the recent one that they did. Flagstaff something.
Occupy Flagstaff House.
Occupy Flagstaff something. We need to continue to do these things if we want to force government to do what it is expected to do, what a government is elected to do. If they're not doing that, then we need to put pressure on them by the various ways that are legal ways that are at our disposal.
I see. Thank you very much for your time, Vitus. Vitus Azim is Executive Director for the Ghana Integrity Initiative. There's more to come here on News Today. Please.